Here we go. Welcome to the Transform with Travel podcast, where we share stories of personal transformation and life lessons through our experiences of traveling and exploring the world. Travel is the ultimate accelerator for personal growth, and it can be the root catalyst for the pivots and plot twists we make in our lives. I'm your host, Kelly Tolliday, and it's my mission to inspire you to live life to its fullest, travel with an open mind and heart, and let the world show you a new perspective. I'm so grateful you're here with us today, so let's dive right in. Happy exploring. All right, welcome to the Transform with Travel podcast. I am so excited to have the Garcia family here with me today from Nomads with Kids. We have Sel Pedro and their daughter Sol, who's 2 years old, who's actually listening in on this recording right now. So you might hear little voices in the background. The Garcia family travels full time while they work and learn around the world. They come from Portugal and Spain. And shortly after they met each other, they left their jobs and their flat in Barcelona and decided to travel to Central America together to some remote work opportunity. This was an 8-month adventure that changed their lives, and they never went back to a conventional life. Apart from their individual jobs as a web developer and online Spanish teacher, they are working together on Nomads with Kids, which is an online project that aims to help traveling families like them find flexible schools, childcare, and world schooling communities that accept short-term enrollment. Also, they're working on and about to launch a new project called Homestays with Kids, and it's a platform to connect families with kids around the world with like-minded families by staying at their houses with them and sharing meals, playdates, and excursions together. So I am so excited to have you guys here. There are so many families that are out there that are looking for more flexible options to be able to travel more long-term, and they're worried about school. They don't know how it's going to work finding a community, how it's going to work for their kids. So I'm so excited for you guys to share your story. So thank you for agreeing to have this conversation with me.
Thank you, Kelly, for having us. We're very excited to talk to you and also share whatever we can to help other families like us. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so you guys are currently back in Barcelona right now.
We're staying at my mom's house for a while. I think this month, in Barcelona.
Yeah, for a month.
Yeah. At the end of the month, we have already planned, it's like a congress, let's say, in Madrid. So we are going there. There's like
Congress for traveling families.
Again.
So, amazing.
Yeah, we spent last month in Valencia, and there we went to World Schoolers Summit, and we met lots of families, and now we're getting back again together in Madrid. Mm-hmm. So we're very excited with this path that we've taken, all thanks to our daughter.
Yeah. Even if it's very difficult to do so many hours in the car with her. But it's great to have the opportunity.
Yeah, it seems like there's such a strong community of people now who are kind of in a like-minded path with their family. And you say it's all thanks to our daughter, but it sounds like the two of you really had a zest for travel and seeing the world from very early on. Can you tell a little bit about your story about how you met and a little bit about your embarking on an 8-month adventure? That's like so foreign to so many people around the world to be able to do that. So I'd love to hear that story.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we met in 2015, I guess. I think we met in Barcelona, and we both had normal office-led jobs. Well, she worked in a school. I worked in an office. And then when we met, for different reasons, I got a job which was purely remote. So Sel, which is like the one that mostly gets us traveling, she's like, well, like if you're working remotely, then it doesn't matter if you're here or in Central America, right? Or in
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Yeah. It's like, really? Remote now? I mean, now I know it's pretty normal. No, lots of us have remote jobs. And 8 years ago, of course, a lot of people work remote, but for us was something foreign. Yeah. So I said, no. Okay, this is the opportunity I've been waiting for all of my life. It didn't come through me, but through him. And I say, okay. We didn't know where to go, actually. It was Central America. It could have been Asia or whatever, South America. But it's just something drew us there. Yeah. So we decided to do it. It's true we didn't have too many things, or we were renting a flat, so it was not a big deal. I know a lot of families now have to really sell everything in order to do it, or have a gap year or something. For us was pretty easy. So in a couple of months, we had everything ready, and we flew to Cancun to Mexico, actually, just because it was the cheapest place.
By far, it was the cheapest. Yeah,
we said, okay.
We didn't want to go to Mexico. Our plan was to go to Guatemala, but then seeing the map and in Skyscanner, I think, I was like, wow, but it's so much cheaper. Well, then let's just go to Cancun, and we can be there like for a week. We were not gonna like it. We can be there for a week, and then we go straight to Guatemala.
Yeah, it was just not Mexico, but it was just Cancun was a misconception for us, because I know it's a place where a lot of honeymooners and different type of holidays maybe, or trips that we are used to. So, and then we wanted to be only 1 week, because we are ignorantly, we didn't want to go. And we spent there 2 months, and we just didn't want to leave.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We found
oh my God.
Oh, it's so rich. So, I mean, well, it's Mexico. Now for us, it's obvious. I mean, why wouldn't you want to go to Mexico? And it's not that we didn't want to go. It's just we had other preferences. But now we love it, and we hope to get back again.
Yeah, we want to go back.
Yeah. It's just so culturally rich and amazing. Yeah. And that we did. And we went traveling then throughout Central America by land with buses and things. And we did all the countries that we could, but not very fast. It's just he was working. I did a little bit of volunteer work in Antigua, in Guatemala. I worked with dogs and cats. And that was my best job ever. One that I didn't get paid. Yeah, it was just amazing. And we got to Panama.
Yeah.
Alive and happy.
And still together.
Yeah. So we were together 1 year when we decided to go on this trip together. It was very intense.
Yeah. We had many conversations.
Yeah.
No, what is it? So we didn't know each other very well, to be honest. I mean, 1 year is only 1 year. But I think that those 8 months definitely were like proof that we are meant to be together. We're a great team, and it's just amazing to have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I can 100% relate to that story, because my husband and I only knew each other for maybe like a year and a half before we left for a year to travel through Southeast Asia. And nothing will show you faster if you're meant to be together than being in high stress, hot, uncomfortable situations and potentially not the most like nicest accommodations. You're not the most comfortable. So yeah, I think that's such a testament to you guys. And really, 2015 was kind of getting into the height of people understanding digital nomad life. So it still wasn't as fully accepted as it is now. Were there any like fears or anything that was going through your mind when you decided to take this leap?
All of them, all of them. We were really scared about everything. I was personally scared. Now I see everything from the outside, and I say, oh, poor baby, no, you didn't have to worry. But I was really worried that I couldn't get a job again, because I quit my job in order to do that. And I say, okay. For me, it was an excuse and an opportunity, because I've been really wanting to quit, but I was comfortable. I didn't know really how to do it. But first of all was that. Also, as we were talking before, we were scared about our relationship.
Of course.
Because, we had fun together. We trusted each other. But as you said, it's just not the same. We were constantly facing problems and situations when you're traveling all the time. It's very tiring, and you get to know the worst side of that person and the best also.
Yeah.
And then
so many little decisions together that you're not like, since you wake up until you go to bed, you're together. And that didn't happen before, right? Because we had our jobs. So
but that's one of the most amazing things about traveling also, I think. It's the opportunity of building your life or your day. It's like, I don't know how to say it, but all these decisions that are so hard to go through. And what are you going to, basic things, what are you going to do, what are you going to eat, where are you going to sleep, how are you going to work with your budget, because we are very low budget travelers. We don't come from money, we do what we can, but all of these also it's very rewarding. It's like that. Before we felt a little bit like our weeks were designed by other people, not by us. And when we are traveling, we are our own everything. I don't know how to say it.
So one other fear that we had was like, how will I work? Where will I work? Will I have a desk? Will I have to work from the bed? Which I did several times.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Will we have internet? Will it be a good connection? Can we have meetings? All these sorts of questions. But nowadays it's fairly easy to get this information online as well. Right? You're in one place and you say, I want to go to this place. Does it have internet? No, let's speak to them. Hey guys, we want to stay there. Do you have internet? We did this sometimes. Other times you already know. You can see reviews where there's like backpackers working with the laptops, and it's like, okay, they have internet. We can go there, right? One other fear was security wise. Like,
right.
Some of these countries are known for their high crime rates. So this is one other fear, especially for our families. They were like, you're crazy, you cannot go there. You can tell her about your sister.
Well, my sister, I don't know if she's going to hear us. She stopped talking to me for a year or so.
Oh, wow.
Because she was convinced that we're going to die. Yeah, she's like a very tragic situation. Yeah, for us it's also weird, but yeah. She was like, no, if you're going to some countries, you're going to die. So I prefer saying goodbye now and please. And for me, I felt it as, I wanted to be supported because we were following our dreams and we didn't have that a lot. But it's just an anecdote because we are okay and with her and everything. Yeah. But we had some little struggles regarding safety. So I don't know if it happens to everybody. I'm not sure if we would do everything again with Sol as we did before, because we got in difficult situations. We were assaulted, how do you say that? With machetes. And now when we travel, for us it was like a quick learning, about life also. Because but Barcelona has its things, but usually everything is without violence. Everything that happened to us, good and bad, I think it's such a learning experience for life. And everything is a lesson.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you've listed very valid concerns, very valid fears. And a lot of those fears are what actually holds people back from going ahead and doing it. And you said, now we probably wouldn't do certain things now that we have Sol. And I think that's a very natural progression of maturity as an adult. And on top of having a kid, you do look at things with a little more seasoned eyes, and you do look at things like, okay, maybe we might not have gone to that place. And you learn as you go, and being a parent changes the way in which you travel. I know for us, we're going to Asia for 5 weeks, and I really wanted to go to this really, really remote island in Thailand that we haven't been to before. And Sam's like, look, if one of them gets sick, where's the closest hospital? How long is it going to take us to get there? What if they get bit by something? And it's not to be like fear mongering. It's just very valid concerns. As an adult by yourself with no kids, you can kind of make those risks, but do you want to take those risks for your child? And those are the kind of the things you have to decide. But going back to the fears, you named off pretty much all the fears that I hear people, or all the concerns I hear people say when they're deciding whether they want to travel or not. A lot of times it holds them back. So what was it for you two that really helped you kind of get past that hurdle of, okay, I feel all these fears. I'm hearing all these fears from my family. I'm having concerns about my job, but I'm still going to do it anyways. What was it about your mindset that allowed you to kind of jump over those hurdles and go for it either way?
I don't know what it is, but for me, it's like an inner compass, or it's something that you feel. I've been afraid of things all of my life. And I know as a result that when I don't do anything, I don't feel better. Every time I wanted to do something and my fears held me back, I just didn't feel nice for not taking those risky paths. So I think it was just the moment in life after some years of feeling okay, feeling happy, because we were pretty well. Yeah. But there's something about the lack of excitement or something, and you said, what is the worst thing that will happen? I mean, anything can happen to us everywhere. Jobs, I don't know, we were making everything relative in our hands, and we say, this is the opportunity. The opportunity that we were looking for came because of a remote job. Even if it's good, but it's the moment to try it. And since that moment, everything we do following that instinct, or that it's like we understand a little bit better life, or what is life for us now. It's not about fears. Okay, they are valid, but they don't help us grow. Not us. I'm not talking about, because I'm not a coach or anything, but for us personally, for me, I was always very shy, and I didn't want to do this, I didn't want to do that. And I saw that didn't have a happy ending. And once we started to saying yes to things that we were afraid of, it's like magic. Things started happening. Opportunities, friendships, lifestyles, new jobs and better jobs, or not about jobs, but experiences.
We know that now. We surely didn't know that since the beginning. I guess it was like the perfect mix of wanting to go, seeing lots of other people do it, and thinking like, why can't we? Like, so some of the fears we have to confront them now, like leaving your flat or leaving your job, or like saying goodbye to friends, right? So those are some things that you can do progressively, and once you begin taking the steps, then you continue those steps, because there are other fears like security, or will I have internet? You cannot know, so you can only go there and find out. And if it like, the worst that it can go is that I lose my job and then we have to come back. That's fine. That's fine, right?
Yeah, there was not much to lose. It was something, an invisible force pushing us on the back, a little push. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what you said. There's like the opportunity cost of not going on this trip. What's the cost of not going on this adventure? And that was bigger. That cost was bigger than what you could have potentially lost in it by going on it. So I do appreciate that insight. And as you said before in your bio, that trip changed your life forever. You've decided that conventional way of living was not going to be for you. And then that has rolled out into the way in which you raise your family and live as a family. So I know that you've been on the road with your daughter Sol for a long time. And I'd love for you guys to talk about how the idea of Nomads with Kids, your project, your business, how that came about. Like, what was it that you were searching for that you decided, okay, we have to create a solution for this?
Yeah. Another fear that we had has nothing to do with travels, but it's just being parents for us, for everybody. I thought it was, no, we shouldn't do this. No, this is for life. This is not a trip. It's a trip, but it's a lifelong trip. And so once we decided, we promised each other, like, yeah, we're going to do it, but we're not going to listen to those voices that makes us more afraid. Like, no, once you have kids, you need to settle. You won't be able to do this. So we were there, like, feeling uncomfortable again with the situation, and we said, okay, if we did things that we were afraid before, we're going to still do them and see how it goes for us. So we decided to have her and continue traveling. So we did small trips, just because, when you have a baby, everything changes. You're trying to what's this?
we decided
100%.
to stop for like the first year. We rented our longest flat in like 6 or 7 years, which was for 9 months, which is, I guess it's not a lot.
But it was hard.
Yeah.
I'm sure it must have felt hard being grounded for that long.
Yeah. But we decided we don't know what this is. Let's take it slowly, step by step. And we did some like 3 or 4, 2 to 6 days travels.
Yeah, and we said, wow, this is a baby. It's so easy. It's just like a backpack, not one.
Right.
Then, okay, she's She's still like a baby, but she's 2 now, and it's a little bit different, but so much fun. So after these little essays and trials, we decided to go to South Africa for 3 months. We just experienced for the first time how unbelievably amazing is traveling with kids is, but how important it is also this support that we didn't have from families or friends or from childcare. We're not big fans of childcare, even if our project is about schools and childcare. Not when they are so little. I understand that it's only a parent's need, not their needs. But even if we are able to spend a lot of time with her, and sometimes we had a meeting or we had something to do in particular, and we said, and now what? I remember we were in Hermanos, we were in somewhere in South Africa, and I tried to talk to people that were there. What can I do? Can I leave her here? Is this reliable? Is this place, this school, like preschools they're called? And I just couldn't find anything. In Google, I didn't find like good resources just for our needs, which are not the needs that every family has, because we just wanted maybe 2 days a week or 2 days a month, something like that. And then I started getting into Facebook groups and alternative schools groups and things like this. And I say, but I'm not the only one. So why didn't anybody did something to make all of this together? Because it's just time consuming just asking everybody and looking separate and contacting every particular school to see if they accept short-term enrollment or not. And there we were in South Africa, and we said, okay, let's do it. Why not? No, we don't know what this is going to be, but let's do it for ourselves. Let's gather all these places that accept flexible enrollments and are also aimed for world schoolers or traveling families, whatever. And ever since, we're getting to know more and more different types of schools and also communities and hubs and people. And it's amazing. I think life is changing for us, for all parents with kids that like to travel. Yeah, more and more they are, even in more traditional schools, let's say, they are starting to integrate some short-term programs for world schoolers, and I love it.
Can you describe what a world schooler is?
Yeah, Pedro.
Let's hope not many world schoolers listen to this podcast, because I don't know if I'm going to say to explain it correctly, but I think mainly there's this example of like why I learned about the Mona Lisa on textbook. If you can go to Paris and see the Mona Lisa live, right? This is kind of the one of the ideas of world schooling is go to those places and motivate children to learn based on living, on seeing, on touching, on living these things, right? This is one of the ideas. You probably know others.
No, it's just that is great. It's just it sounds like coming from privilege to be able to go to the museum. And I think it's not only about taking flights and going very far from you are to see something or learn something specific. I think it's a way of life that you can do on your own region. It's not so much about traveling, but about learning by doing. I think a lot of nature is also involved, or at least for us. I don't know. It's just
and also their own choices and their own motivation. Like it's not let's learn this because you have to learn this. It's you want to, or let's see if you want to. Right? Like present all sorts of ideas for them to know and to discover.
Child-led education, I think.
Yeah.
But I think also it's a lot about priorities and what's important for you as an individual and as a family. And for us at first, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's our ideal because we needed to make sacrifices. So I stopped working for a little bit while he continued working. So it was just the two of us. Now with also juggling a lot, like, okay, now my turn. Now it's your shift. Okay, let's go. Now it's time for the three of us. But maybe that is little or not as much as we want. Yeah. That's why we also need support from, but
Right.
it's not the same to have a support that rely completely in a school, like a lot of hours, a lot of days.
Yeah.
I don't think.
No, I love this concept of world schooling and in all of its forms, because as you said, it's going to mean different to different families, different circumstances, different parts of the world. But so I run this podcast, I run my business out of a hybrid co-working childcare space where it's up to 4 hours at a time, and your child gets to go to a Montessori child-led, beautiful childcare facility while you're in your own private office, and you can pop in and breastfeed. You can feed your toddler lunch. You can pop in and say hi if they're having a hard time. And so as you're talking, I was like, this is exactly what you guys are talking about, being able to find flexible, supportive, child-led, all the amazing facilities out there in the world so that parents know, okay, if we want to go to Barcelona for 3 weeks, I know that I can at least get a couple days where I can get my admin done, or even just sitting down and doing travel planning for the next 3 weeks. Sometimes you need just a little bit of silence to get that done. And so being able to know that these places have been vetted and that there's places from all over the world. For those listening, if you go to your website, Nomads with Kids, you can see the entire world map of places all over the world of amazing childcare facilities. Sometimes it's schools, sometimes it's just drop-in childcare, sometimes it's like play spaces and stuff like that. So I think it's really amazing. I'm already in my head, there's like 5 to 10 people I'm like, need to shoot off their website too. My cousin's in Spain right now. She homeschools their kids and they're in Spain right now, and she's a tour guide. And so she loves taking them to all the different historical sites in Spain and showing them all the different things. So I think it's amazing. And so with you guys starting Nomads with Kids, you're now about to start this new initiative. And I think when this episode airs, it will have been launched by then. But you're now going into this next phase of your business, launching a new initiative called Homestays with Kids. Can you talk a little bit about what started? Now you're like, okay, we've done Nomads with Kids, but now there's another solution that we need to solve the answer to, or another answer we need to solve.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I remember where does this come from. It has been some crazy months, but I think it comes from discovering that there's lots of people out there that would love to have this. Like we started looking into online groups of traveling families and world schooling families and homeschooling families, and this idea comes up very often. Okay.
Very often, because it's not a single idea. It's not about homestays or staying with someone, and it's about community. I think we're all looking for this, and sometimes, especially when the kids are there are two parts of it. At first, when you are parents for the first time, and sometimes so your life changes obviously, and your kids are small, let's say. And sometimes your friends change or your lifestyle changes because it's meant to or whatever. And some families feel a little bit lost, like they don't find their village or their right place, their community, their support system. So I found that for those that were traveling, they say, I need to meet more like-minded families, and I don't know how. Of course, if you just travel, the opportunities come up naturally. But sometimes it's hard for whichever reason. And also when they are older, when kids are older, I also met lots of parents that say, okay, now they need to socialize, because when they are little, it's different. And they need to spend time together. And a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them don't go to proper schools. So for them, it's very important to be around other families that live the world in a similar way. It doesn't have to be the same as them. And I found people talking about that, and I felt it also. I said, we are traveling all the time, and we have a lot of casual meetings in the park or in the supermarket. And for us, he is a great source of spontaneous talks and yeah, okay, do you want to have dinner? I don't know. We've never been so popular before.
Parks, yeah, but it's all her.
It's amazing. She goes there, she says hi to someone, and suddenly we are the same night having dinner with someone in the Canary Islands, in a new place, and we feel so
Oh, that's
great.
amazing.
We feel our hearts are full, and this is what we need. So we started doing this in a spontaneous way, meeting with other families and say, okay, do you want to stay with us tonight? Yeah, okay. Tomorrow we have some waterfalls that we would like to discover. Do you want to come with us? And this, together with the talks that we saw in some groups, Facebook groups, things like that, we say, okay, now let's do something so that families can meet and stay at other families' houses. But of course, this already exists. It's just that we are aiming only families with kids because I think the whole story is a little bit different.
Yeah. I guess we think there's a niche here that we can explore, and we think that there's a community around this idea that needs to have a place. Not many places, because you can find families on, I don't know, couch surfing, but it's not. It tends to be a little bit more difficult because you're filtering a lot, and those filters don't actually exist, or they're not enough. We feel.
Yeah.
Mainly, again, we're doing what we did with Nomads with Kids, with the map of flexible schools, is we're trying to fill a need that we have. And we have this because at the end of the month, then we're going to a congress in Madrid and we're going to spend some nights there. Of course, we can rent an apartment. Of course, we can. Otherwise, we wouldn't be going. But it's not the same because we want to share with people. And maybe we don't know anybody in Madrid. And doing this and contacting with families, I know that we've already met great friends now, and for her, for the kids to be together, spend time together, do things together is amazing. Of course, she has that opportunity when she goes some days to school or something like that, but it's different because it's not family time. You cannot participate like a group. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's not like when she goes to the childcare or the days that she does go to school, she gets to make those connections with her friends, but you're not actually getting to really make those proper connections with the adults. And I remember when I would do through the program couch surfing like 10 years ago, those were some of my favorite memories. We would go to we stayed at someone's house in Berlin, and he'd be like, hey, there's this really local live music place that only people that live in this tiny suburb outside of Berlin are going to go to. And we had the best night ever. Or we were in the Netherlands in Amsterdam, and our host was like, jump on the back of my bike and let's ride around Amsterdam at night. And it's just things that to think about it, to be able to put a family lens on it so that now your daughter gets to experience that, and you all as a family get to make connections and friends and go to all these really local, like hyper local attractions that you might not have had the opportunity to go to, or even a car to get into to go there. Now you're going with other families and friends. I think it's such an amazing initiative. And since the world has changed and is continuing to change so much to such more of a hybrid, remote, nomadic style that at least in my circle of friends are really feeling the call to be able to have that community of people and places that are vetted that you can go to is amazing. So if, let's say, I live in South Florida, I live in Fort Lauderdale, and I want to open up my home to families that are traveling around Florida, what would be that process for me to be able to do so?
So we're still working out the kinks, but mainly you do your account. You have the choice of being a guest, being a host, or being both, because you may want to have people, but then you go on a travel, because it really, you don't need to be a nomadic family to do this. You can live on your place and you go on vacation a month or whatever, and you can hook up with other families and have that local thing that you mentioned with other families, right? So you would set up a host profile, and you put your name, you can describe your family, how many you are, you can add photos of the place that you're offering.
And it doesn't have to be like a guest house or a room. No. It can also be like a plot if you have a house, or for someone to park their camper van, their
Yes.
Cool. That's
It's also
amazing.
fun.
Because we met now, we are meeting, we're in this process. These months are like very, very social months for us. And you know that there are so many families in so different types of traveling. So this is the beautiful thing. I think also it's not, you don't need a big house or a good, it's just whatever you have. The concept couch now for a family gets a little bit small or uncomfortable. Yes. But there are many things you could offer. Yeah. For the moment, the idea is homestays. So you should be able to sleep the night there. But because I know also there are people that just want to meet, we just want to do some excursions together. We will get to that if people want, but the idea is that you can sleep, you offer your place, that's it. And then just hit the contact button when you find some place that you like or a family. And of course, we strongly suggest that you get to know a little bit the family before, but it's not just like an informal chat or see at least one of the kids just for security reasons.
We do what we can. We implemented ID verification, and but it's in the end you should get to know the people before jumping into a stranger's house, right?
Just common sense. But what we said before, we went to strangers' houses a lot of times now because we just met casually in the park. So I think with a quick chat and saying it's a family, there are kids, I think it's a feeling you have. I want to go.
Yeah, totally. And that's also like just doing your own due diligence, like the platform itself, whether it's your platform or somewhere else, like you can only do so much, right? You can only do so much in terms of ID verification, all that. You have to go and meet that person face to face and get a gut check and be like, you know what, this might not be the right check. We did couch surfing through Europe for a couple months, and there was only one place out of maybe 10 where we met the person at outside of the train station, and me and my girlfriend looked at each other and we were like, you know, I don't know, I'm getting kind of a weird feeling, and that was the only one. And we didn't go with them to their house, and we went to a hotel, and that's okay. But I think you guys are building what you were looking for through a community, and not just a community in one place, being able to travel all around the world and be able to create that sense of community, not just for yourselves, but for your daughter as well, which is so important when they're growing up, feeling like they have those connections and they have kids that they can hang out with and socialize and learn like the rules of life through play. And so you're building that, not just an amazing life of adventure for your family, but also building social connections and amazing experiences for families all around the world. So for my own family, I am so grateful to you guys for creating this, and I'm so excited to explore this even further as it launches. One last thing that I'd like to ask you before we wrap up is just, there are so many families who are looking for alternative ways of living, whether it's moving out of the city and going somewhere more rural, or taking a gap year with their family and going on the road. What would be your biggest piece of advice for a family who is feeling that call, but might be feeling a little stuck or afraid, just like you guys had fears, 8 years ago before you went traveling? What would be your biggest piece of advice for families now?
Go for it. No, it's very easy to say, I know, but it's just that. I mean, it's just sometimes we think, I'm talking about myself, we think that things need to be big. Because for us, we started big. I feel like saying, okay, let's quit this, let's go 8 months to Central America. I think it doesn't have to be the case. Sometimes just little steps are guiding you into the right direction of what you want to do. So you don't feel ready to take the gap year. Okay, take a week, but take a week take a week how you feel or where I don't know, just something, a little thing about it. And feel comfortable with it. No? Take a small risk and get to see how you feel. You are feeling great with it. Okay, one more. It doesn't have to be all, because it's very nice to hear, oh, they left everything. They quit, they sold.
Right.
Yeah, there are other ways. You can do it also slowly, and there are a lot of options. For me, one of the, now that I say it, is people. People are very important. So if you're feeling any kind of resistance, not only inner resistance, but from the outside or your environment, get into communities, get into online communities if you don't have a physical one. There are a lot of families out there. living in their own terms. But it's just there are so many opportunities that we sometimes don't even know or realize they are out there for us. And when you're talking, someone gives you an idea that works for them, and you say, maybe I could do this. For example, related to remote working. Okay, yeah, it's popular, it's out there, but there's still a lot of people that dream with it, but don't know how to start. It's just talk to people, send messages, and then it's like an engine. It grows. It grows.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say?
I would say this works for other areas as well. But I would say talk to each other and listen to each other, because that's so very important, especially when you're sharing so much time together. Like understanding what the other person is saying sometimes is not that easy. I know it wasn't easy for me, but like get to know the person and really try to understand them and work together. It's very important to work together when you're in high stress situations, not against each other, which sometimes it's very, very difficult. Like with your kids, when your kid wants something
Yeah.
and they cannot have it, then you have to do the best you can, right? And you need to be the bigger person and try to understand where is that coming from. Well, it's the same with people, with kids, with animals. I think it's
How did this end up? You are giving now a relationship advice.
yeah.
No, but it's really powerful advice for people to hear, because also, just as you said, Sel, before, was people think it has to be this big extravagant, they quit their jobs with their 8 kids and they're on the road for 8 years going on and on. You think that that's a magical experience 100% of the time, and you're not seeing what's happening behind the scenes. So I think it's really important for people to hear, like what you were saying, Pedro, is like, yes, it's going to be great. It's going to be an adventure, but you need to learn how to, what is your communication style between the two of you? Maybe even figure that out before you go on your trip. As you said, Sel, start small, go on little adventures where you're testing your comfort zones, and then see how you as a family are interacting with each other. Because the problems that you have at home aren't going to go away just because you're in Guatemala or because you're in Morocco or wherever it is. So I really appreciate that advice. I think that will help a lot of people be able to get one step closer to living the life of their dreams. So I always end each podcast with these rapid fire questions and little like travel pop quiz. So number 1 is, if you could only go back to one country or one place in the world, where would it be and why?
Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
If we can be okay, yeah.
So Mexico. Okay, great. And then number 2 is, what's next on your bucket list?
We're deciding that.
Yeah. When we finish
In progress.
when we finish this big trip, we finished it in Panama, and really, really, we're looking forward to go to Colombia. But we decided it was good for us to stop there and just figure out our life again, because this is what we do. We have and then what are we going to do now? No, it's all. And Colombia is, we would like, but also now Sri Lanka is calling us. So let's keep it on. It's just, it will be
okay. I gotta say, I mean, I've been to Colombia and I've been to Sri Lanka, neither with kids, so I can't give you recommendations for families, but Sri Lanka is our number 1 favorite country in the whole world. And I see more and more families moving there. I see more and more families like building lives there. And I know that they've had a couple rough, 5 years, even pre-pandemic, they were going through a lot, but man, it is incredible. So if you do go, hit me up, because I've got a lot of recommendations for there.
Nice to hear that. Maybe we would,
that gives us a little bit of a push.
Yeah. We'll talk. So number 3 is, what's the biggest life lesson that you've learned through traveling?
Oh, I blew mine. I just said it. I learned a lot in thanks to her, mainly, in like really listening to a person and understanding their needs, even if they're very different to yours. And this was like a crash course. This is like, we didn't know each other that well, and we spent 8 months completely together, and it was difficult, but it was amazing, and it was a life lesson.
Yeah. I subscribe those words. For me, the same. And also, I just learned that nothing is, I don't know how to say it, but I separated all those fears that I always carry with me to what is essential. It's just like, I know I know myself much more. So I understood. I continue understanding what is essential for my happiness and my family's happiness, and what is peripheral and maybe gives me a lot of anxiety, but it's not really important. Now I know what is important because I've been experiencing, and mainly throughout traveling, it's important to be with them. It's important for me that they're happy, and maybe it's not before with our lifestyle. Maybe we were more comfortable or more relaxed, but we were not happier. So it's just
Yeah, no, that's super powerful. Thank you for sharing that. The last question you guys kind of already touched on with the last question is, what's a piece of advice that you would give to a beginner traveler, someone who wants to get out there in the world? And I know you guys kind of just touched on that, but if you just wanted to give like a quick few words on what your piece of advice would be to a beginner traveler.
Resources. To say something different, just look for resources. There are many options of everything now available for us. If depending on your level of comfort, okay, you need to go to a hostel, or you need to crash someone's bed, or you need to go to Airbnb because you want to be more comfortable and cook for yourself. This is just a tiny thing of traveling, but accommodation, okay, check your options and try one. You don't like it, try the other one. The same with destinations, the same with people and friendship.
Yeah.
Just try and try and try, and eventually you're going to get things that you really like.
I would say you won't regret it. Like, do that travel you've been planning, or you want to do. Just do it because it'll be great. And even if it isn't, like, it's not not everything will be negative. Like, you learn that maybe that's not for you. That's fine. That's also fine. But then you answer that question, your inner question of, I want to travel, do it. You don't like it, that's it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Another thing, right?
Yeah, it's almost like the question of not knowing what would have happened is almost harder to live with than the potential negative experience that happened while you were traveling. So it kind of goes back to that like cost benefit of going or not going. What's the cost of me not going on this adventure? So I really, really enjoyed speaking with you guys and being able to hear your story. You've inspired me to kickstart more of our adventures as a family. And so if people want to follow your journey, if they want to learn more about Nomads with Kids, Homestays with Kids, what's the best way for them to connect with you online?
Instagram.
Yeah.
It's our Instagram accounts. We have for both projects, Nomads with Kids and Homestays with Kids. And we have our own, which is mainly she's the one.
We have our personal one, but I just share photos about us and our adventures. But I don't write as much or anything. It's just for family and friends to see, but also people that would like to get some inspiration. It's also welcome. But yeah, for the projects, it's just nomadswithkids.org and Homestays with Kids. And just drop a message. We are always happy to receive any kind of feedback or contact, or just, hey, I am here. Are you somewhere near? We'd like to meet. We love these kind of interactions.
Yeah, incredible. And I'll link everything into the show notes. And like I said, when this episode airs, we're hoping that Homestays with Kids will be launched and people will be connecting all over the world thanks to you guys. So thank you so much. And we'll definitely speak to you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Transform with Travel podcast. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode of inspiration, adventure, and exploration. If you felt inspired by this episode, please rate and review in whatever streaming app you're listening from. This allows us to spread the word even more and continue to serve up weekly doses of adventure. As always, we'd love if you could share the episode with someone in your life who you think will benefit from this conversation. Thanks so much for listening. This is your reminder to get out there and keep on exploring.